I'm going live. You're live. It was taking its time going. It's just sitting there and going like, about to go live, about to go live, about to go live, about to go live. Oh, you're live. Yeah, I've been having some really screwy internet problems of late, with it cutting out and stuff on me in the middle of doing shit. And so it's not unusual to like go, oh, why is my internet being so bad? Hold on one moment. I know I should have done this earlier. But I have to have something to drink while I'm doing this because my mouth gets dry. So sorry. Actually, it's weird. I have been left the light on. I have been drinking a minimum of 60 ounces of water a day ever since the last time I went to practice and had severe dehydration, and I was feeling it. It was affecting me. So every day I've been making certain I drink like a lot of water. So I've been drinking a minimum of 60 ounces a day. Yeah. And then usually when I'm at practice, I drink another 40 ounces because I take 2 canteens with me. And I drink another 40 ounces. And then usually when I get home from practice, before I go to bed, I usually end up drinking 20 ounces of water. So on practice nights, I'm drinking 120 ounces of water. And in case you're wondering, $120 ounces of water works out to 3.5 liters of water. Seriously, it's like you're drinking almost 2 of the 2-liter bottles of pop if they were filled with water. That's how much I'm drinking on practice days, which is now Sunday. I don't really do that because I don't drink a lot of water in the morning before I go to practice. So I usually, like today, I'll usually end up drinking like anywhere from 80 to 100 ounces of water because we have practice on Sunday morning, so I don't get that chance to hydrate. Although I may not have practice tomorrow, you may have heard that there is a winter storm warning for much of the Midwest and Eastern Seaboard, and I'm right in the middle of that. We're actually starting a winter watch at noon, which is like 45 minutes from now. And the governor has actually said that he doesn't want any commercial traffic on the highways between noon today and noon tomorrow because we're expecting I don't know, anywhere from 2 inches to 12 inches. I guess it depends on who you're talking to. So right now, the snow has not begun falling. But I was warned after practice on Thursday night that there's a real good chance our practice will get called off tomorrow because they're predicting snow and ice. So they said, check your computer like an hour before practice starts because we know people are leaving out at that time. And usually that's when I do leave. I leave about an hour before practice begins. So I guess I won't be having breakfast in Lancaster tomorrow. Yeah, shit happens. We'll see how it goes. So, I'm debating whether I want to go out to the store and pick up a few things before it starts hitting. I may actually do something because I know right now if you go out this afternoon, the stores are going to be a madhouse because this is Pennsylvania. Around here, if there's a rumor you're going to get 2 inches of snow, people are buying like a dozen loaves of bread. It's a joke. It really is kind of a running joke around here that, if there's even a hint you're going to get like 2 or 3 inches of snow, people run to the store and are buying 6 gallons of milk and 12 loaves of bread, stuff like that, because they figure they're going to be snowed in for like a week. And in Indiana, we call that Tuesday. Oh, we're getting 3 inches of snow today. Oh, okay. Guess I'm going into work. I do have to say, though, I guess all the criticism that PennDOT has been getting over the years has come back to sting them, because the other day when it snowed, they were out there while it was snowing, clearing the road. And they did it the other night, too, when I was going to practice. I actually went to practice Thursday night when we had snow falling. It was light snow. It wasn't major. But it was enough that a couple of my teammates were like, "You made it to practice." Yeah, I made it to practice. Why? Well, it was snowing outside. Yeah, well, I'm crazy that way. It was slick. I mean, there were a couple of times I did not go, most of the time I do just a little over the speed limit. I do like 67 miles an hour in a 65 zone going down. That night, I don't think I ever got over 60. Most of the time I was keeping it at like 57, 58 miles an hour. And there were a few times when I had to actually back it down just a little bit because I could feel the conditions were just a little crazy. So I backed it down just a bit. But yeah, we're supposed to get socks. So I'm thinking I might do one of the things like, late in the afternoon, if there's like an inch or two of snow on the ground, then I'll go to the store. I'll make it like a real quick run to the store because there won't be many people on the road. Of course, everything is liable to be shut down. There's already a bunch of businesses that are saying they're going to close at like 2 in the afternoon today because they're fearful the snow will be bad and nobody will be able to get back and forth. I'm not. I got enough food that I could wait until Monday. I'm not real worried about it. It's not like I'm going to get snowed in. I've got a bunch of leftovers. The only thing I can't make is I'm out of pasta sauce for spaghetti. I am, So, oh well. I can make another big batch. I can make chili. I got ground beef. I can make another big batch of chili if I have to, but I still got like a bowl of it. I'm good. So, now one of the first things I have to talk about is I got a Christmas present. Yeah, you notice? Yes, I dressed for the occasion today. I just have my sleep cami on. Yeah, sleep cami. But my friend Lynette out in Colorado Springs, she sent me a late birthday present, and I have to show them to you. Yes. Well, I'm gonna angle this down a little bit. Pay no attention to that mess over there. See, mermaid leggings. Yes, look at this. See, you can see the scales. Mermaid leggings. She sent me 5 pair of mermaid leggings. See, because us mermaids, we have to look. We have to look nice. I've already wore these to practice. And I wore these? Yes, I did. I wore these to practice Thursday night. No, I didn't wear these to practice Thursday night. These are the other ones. Where are they? Yes, I have a mess over here. I have not worn these 2 to practice. This is more like a Cozumel fun at the beach type. And this is a universe mermaid because there are scales in there. They're a little difficult to see, but they are scales. And these are the ones I wore to practice the other night that people liked. Ray Acid Rain, she's another mermaid fan. She liked these. She liked the little shell and the star. And then, of course, on the leg, I have a swimming mermaid. Yes. So I have all these different leggings now to wear. And not only that, I have one last thing I have to show you. My Cuddle Tail. Look at that. It's a cozy Cuddle Tail. You wear it, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm putting it on. You put it on, and it's like a cozy, but it's a cozy mermaid tail. See? And so you can sit here and I'm flapping my fin. I am. And I'm just going to leave this on for the rest of my video. There you go. My Cuddle Tail. Yes. So thank you to Lynette, who understands that I need a tail. There you go. Yeah. Just, yeah. Mermaid. I'm in full mermaid mode this morning. So there you go. There. Full mermaid mode. There we go. I'm sitting here in my mermaid tail. So if you see me bouncing up and down while I'm doing this video, you'll know I'm sitting here flapping my tail like I'm 8 years old. I have a mermaid tail. So what has gone on this week? Well, I did turn in, I made all the changes to that resume and turned it in that I was talking about last week. So I'm hoping to hear something back on that. I've applied for some more administrative position jobs, even a couple for IT. Really hoping something pops up here soon. I may actually apply for a position at Aldi's, if nothing else. May do that. I need money coming in here, and I need it fast. So, what can I say? Could be worse. I could be working for the federal government, which really makes it kind of difficult because I was planning on filing for food stamps and government assistance, and you can't do that right now. And in fact, the people who are getting that money, I know people who are getting SNAP said that they were actually getting their money. I guess it was like the February money came yesterday because it's the last allotment that's going out. Because asshole down in the White House, he wants his wall. I give him a wall. It's a prison wall, but I'll give it to him. And I think that's what he's going to get eventually. Jackass. Seriously. Yeah, I mean, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm trying not to get depressed over it. I was a little depressed last night. I had a little bit of a crying jag over the fact that, I know money is running out, but shit'll happen. It will. It will. I always say bad things happen to good people. I don't understand that. Bad things happen to people, period. But it does seem like I could stand to have something good happen to me once in a while. It seems like I've had a lot of bad happen to me, and it's just not fair. What else? Writing. Let's talk about my writing. Hey, 1,900 words. I promised you an excerpt. It's not so much an excerpt as it was something that was brand new. And I didn't actually hear any comments on it, which I found kind of surprising. I thought a few people would read it and go, oh my God, look at this. And if you didn't read it, if you haven't read it, I'd suggest you go read it. But short version of what I wrote, it's a future vision of when Annie and Carrie are probably in their late 20s, early 30s, maybe a little older. I haven't really pinned, well, actually, I have pinned down exactly when it happens. I have. I mean, I know exactly when the vision actually happens. And like I said, it's a vision that happens to them. It'll actually happen to them in one of the 3 remaining years they have at Salem. And it's going to shake visions they'll have of them married. But this is basically a ways down the line after they've been married, because now they have a child. You get to see their little daughter. And as it says in the vision, Annie's the one, it's coming from Annie's point of view. And she sees the kid, and it's like, first she's trying to figure out whose kid it is. And then, as it says in the vision, the ginger hair and the hazel eyes give away the parentage. Yeah, you really can't. Let's see. Let's see. Ginger hair and hazel eyes. Is there a father and a mother that we know who may have ginger hair and hazel eyes? Yeah, it's distinctly possible that we know traits to their kids. Yeah. It's pretty simple to figure out. But yeah, we know Annie and Carrie have offices that they work out of at home. And they also have a workshop for Carrie can go in and do shit on his brooms and stuff like that. And he keeps his original broom, the one Annie bought him, in a case in his office. So it must be a special broom, because we never heard about any of the other brooms. So any other brooms he may have, he probably keeps in the workshop, but he keeps that one, his special one. And he's teaching his daughter how to fly. And if you read the vision, it's pretty clear they have more than one kid. Yeah. At the time the vision occurs, they have more than one kid. We don't know how many kids they have, but we do know they have more than one kid. So there you go. Some point in the future, Carrie and Annie squeezing those kids out. And the reason I say Carrie and Annie both squeezing those kids out is, if they have more than one kid, did they all come out of Annie? It is possible that maybe one of those kids came out of Carrie. You never know. I mean, it's possible. It's already been stated that when Carrie is transitioned over, it is possible for her to get pregnant. Or at least that's what they think. Everything is there that could cause her to get pregnant. I mean, they know she'll menstruate. They know she'll ovulate. Which means she could get impregnated. I mean, it's possible. So maybe one of their kids, if they have let's say they have when she said the others, Annie said, tell the others, which means there's more than one other kid we have not seen. So let's assume there's 2 other kids at least at a minimum. One of them could be from Annie and one of them could be from Carrie. We don't know. I do. I know. I'm not telling. That's not something I'm going to tell for a while. But yeah, maybe it could come out. Now I'm thinking of writing some other future excerpts like that, and I don't really know what I should write. I will say this, writing 1,900 words, and it took me about it took me about 3 hours to write that. So it's almost 2,000 words in 3 hours. I was writing a little over 600 words an hour. I have not written almost 2,000 words in a day in a long time. Really, I mean, it has been some time since I've written even over 1,000 words in a day. So to write that many in like a 3-hour time period, I felt I was doing pretty good. And there were a couple of times when I felt like I'm kind of pushing this, but at the same time, I had that, well, I need to finish this too. I really do. A couple of times I wanted to just quit and put it off for a day, and then I said, no, I promise to get this out. I'm going to do it. So it was an interesting experience, and I've begun the process of thinking about, what do I want to write next? Should I finish up the Christmas adventure in Pamperova? And I probably should, because I kind of left it off at a point where it needs to be finished. And I think that's something I should do that. And then after that, I don't know. I know a couple of people have said they, prior to, back when I went on my writing hiatus, that they wanted to see how Carrie was going to spend Christmas in Pamperovo. Then they wanted to see how Annie was going to do on her little adventure with the Guardians. And then they wanted to see the Polar Express. And so I probably should finish those off. I mean, that's something I should get done. After that, I don't know what I'm going to do. If I'm going to get back into the novel, I really want to. At the same time, there's stuff that I don't know. I'm really way up in the air about what I want to do with my writing these days, because I don't really have an idea. And like I said, I've discussed the possibility of doing this either doing my writing either through Ko-fi or even through a Patreon. But if I do that, I really need to go back and start at the very beginning, edit off stuff that I did. And one of the things that I've spoken with my writing friend April before, she's under deadlines right now to get her writing done. So she's been busting her ass pretty much constantly every day to get stuff done. And we had talked about actually splitting up the first novel into 6 separate parts. And I had actually found the first 4 breakpoints where I could split up Acts 1 and 2 into 2 separate parts. And that way you crunch it down to 70,000 words, which is more of a novel. Maybe what I should do is release that way through a Patreon. $2, you get 70,000 words, which is pretty cheap when you think about it. Yeah, it is. And then when it's all said and done, I could put it out on Amazon and sell it for a little bit more. But if you wanted to get it through my Patreon, if I do a Patreon, or if I went say, I couldn't really do it through Ko-fi. Ko-fi actually has some restrictions on what you can publish through there. So a Patreon might be the way to go. And maybe I'll do that. I mean, I should put a poll up with this and say, would you be interested in receiving the novels? Or say now I know a lot of people will say, well, if you split it into 6 parts, that's $12 for a novel. Have you seen what novels go for these days? I mean, even if you order an electronic version, some of the electronic versions are like, $12, $15. I mean, I'm not BSing you. Of course, when you're spending like $6 for an electronic novel, they're not all like 425,000 words worth of writing. My first two novels add up to about 750,000 words. So, they're almost that much. They're almost like 750,000 words. 425,000 and 350,000, 450, 325,000 words. That's 750,000 words. That's a lot of writing. You think about it. So maybe I'll put a poll at the end of what I'll do is I'll put this, when I put this video in my blog, maybe I'll put a poll at the end of my blog and say, would you be interested in receiving, my novels that way? Break them down into like 5 or 6 parts and send them out. With the second novel, probably what I would do, I remember one of the parts was short enough. One of the parts was like 80,000 words, 87,000 words. I probably wouldn't even split that. Probably split the other 2 parts, which were like 150,000 words each. There you go. I'll think about it. I'll put a poll in. Yeah. Let's see. Work. Shit. Before I get into Derby, I want to talk about today. Today is the Women's March. It's been 2 years. This isn't the actual anniversary. This is the actual Saturday on which it occurred. But because 2 years have gone by, the actual anniversary of when I went to DC for the initial inaugural Women's March is actually on Monday. It's the actual date, the 21st. And it was a remarkable experience. I had said I was going to go to a gathering in Carlisle, which actually started at 10. I did not get out of bed until 9:56. I went to bed about 11:30, and I got up in the middle of the night at one point, had trouble getting back to sleep, and I finally did get back to sleep. But obviously, I laid in bed for probably about an hour this morning when I woke up. Like I said, the depression is starting to hit a little bit again, and it was hitting me last night. So I think the whole laying in bed, such as it was really kind of, I was just not motivated to get out of bed. And when I did finally get out and I looked at the time, I felt pretty rested. It said, 9:57, 9:56. I was like, holy shit, I've never slept that late before. So, I was going to go, but I didn't. And I kind of feel bad in one way. In another way, I don't feel bad. I've done a lot, I think, to support and protest what's been going on, especially with the women's organizations. I got involved with the first Women's March basically because of the work I did when I was on the Clinton campaign. And, the heartbreak I felt from that when it happened, when everything went down. And so I felt like I had to do something. And going to the Women's March, being a bus captain and helping take people down, we had 12 buses that we took down from Harrisburg for that. And that was one of the most wonderful experiences of my life. I'm never going to forget that one. Particularly since 2 days before, this is the anniversary of when I woke up. This is the anniversary of 2 years ago. I woke up in the middle of the night vomiting, and I had extreme diarrhea. And I was actually quite dehydrated by the time it started getting light outside. And I remember contacting work and saying, there's just no way I can come in today. I can barely move. I'm so weak. And I actually was considering the possibility of somehow getting across the street to the hospital and going into the ER and telling them, I don't know what I've got, but I'm severely dehydrated. I really was weak. I laid on my recliner, unable to move for about 4 hours straight until I finally felt like I was strong enough to get up. And I did. I finally got into the kitchen and got water into me, and I started eating slight amounts of food and water. But that was the thing. When I went to the Women's March, I was still feeling the effects of that illness. And I hardly ate anything that day. The only thing I had to eat was a 6-inch sub from Subway. Most of what I was doing was just drinking fluids. I was pounding down as many fluids as I could get my hands on, mostly water. It was just tremendous. It really was. That was a wild experience. But one of the things that's been happening in the 2 years since then is there's been a lot of controversy about the makeup of the people who are running these various organizations, especially the group that is, quote, the official Women's March group, who a lot of the other organizations are distancing themselves from them because of their the official group showed support for something that Louis Farrakhan said, which was quite anti-Semitic, because Louis Farrakhan has had a history of saying anti-Semitic stuff, and they actually first showed some solidarity and support in that, and they wouldn't back down from the position. So several organizations, including the DNC, backed away from them. And now a lot of the independent groups don't really pay attention to them anymore. They've kind of backed away and don't really want to have anything to do with them. And I've had several other friends say that they're kind of dismayed by the whole Women's March movement, because it seems to be really geared a lot towards, straight white cis women. Yeah, funny how that happens. It does seem at times like it's not very intersectional. I know the group out in Carlisle that I was going to go see today, I did see pictures of it where they said, yes, they're very intersectional. And I know some of the people behind that group out there, and I know how they are. And they said, we have women of color, we have Muslim women who were speaking. They know me. I am sure there's a few other transgender members out there as well. That's what they say is, that's what feminism really is all about. I know another friend of mine, to go to the other extreme, a friend of mine who lives in Baltimore, a trans woman who I know through Derby. She said she would like to go to a women's march, but she was worried about all the TERFs that were going to show up. And if you don't know what a TERF is trans exclusionary radical feminist, who believe that unless you're born with a vagina, you can't ever be a woman. So trans people are not women because, well, I lucked out on the genital lottery when I was born. Okay. And a TERF does not consider me a woman. And that was her concern. She says there's just way too many TERFs in the area who are involved in the women's movement down there. And she felt unsafe going to some of the local rallies because of that, because of the TERFs. A lot of the independent women's movements are getting better. If you go to any of the small regional groups, they are more intersectional. But the national movement really has to get a hell of a lot more intersectional than it is. And it's kind of one of the reasons why I've been kind of lukewarm about getting re-involved in it. Because, yeah, I want to protest the asshole down in Washington, D.C. And I do my best to protest him. But if I'm going to get together with a bunch of people who want to protest him as well, I want to make certain that I feel welcome. And I want to make certain that it feels like I'm an accepted member of that group. And I know a lot of the feminists that I personally am close to, you know, they're not TERFs. They accept and they understand who I am and what I am. And they don't have a problem with that. And that's good. I love it. And they're very intersectional. There's never any doubt in how they view other people. So it's good to be with them. Maybe one of these days I'll get back down to Washington, D.C. I would love to go to Washington, D.C. again for another big march. I didn't go last year, and I definitely didn't go this year. Maybe next year. Maybe 2020 is the year. It won't ever be as good as that first time in 2017. But then, your first time is always special. Well, almost always special. Depends on what that first time is. So that's just, a quick bit there. Last thing, Derby. Oh boy. Derby. Let's just say shit has gotten real. This week was all about assessments. It really was. They had scrimmage assessments for our travel team. In case you're wondering, we actually have 3 separate teams. We have a travel team, which is like our all-star team. They're like our best players. They are. The best of the best, I guess you could say. And then there's the Blitz, which is our kind of like, they do traveling as well. But I guess you could say the all-star team is, like I said, it's the best of the best. The Blitz is the best. Those are the really, really good players. And then the best of the best go on to the all-star. And the best play the Blitz. And then we have a home team, which usually ends up playing after our summer break. And basically, anybody can get involved in the home team. So that's how it works out. They were having assessments for seeing who could get onto the travel team. So I wasn't involved in that. And I was involved mostly in working on some basic skills and whatnot. But Thursday night, I got assessed. And we were doing, plows and blocking plows and shuffles and blocking shuffles and toe stop stops and hitting. My plows and my shuffles, my plows, I knew I was going to do bad. It was like a 2 in blocking. And it's because I'm deficient in my plows. My shuffles were like 2.5 better. A couple of times I did feel like I was out of control. I didn't have much control. My toe stop were 3s. They even said, you come to a stop and you recover rather quickly and you move. And I could do both sides. So they said, and my hitting was a 3. They said they were impressed. I had good solid hits and I stayed in bounds after the hit. Watch my elbows. Yeah, I know. My elbow does tend to get in there sometime. But yeah. But we did a lot of plow work. One of the things I will say, the biggest difference between what I'm doing now with DDR and what I used to do with my other league is everything revolves around plowing. It really does. And a lot of blocking involves being able to plow real good. And I'm really shitty at that. And it's going to hurt me if I don't get better. Because I would like to try out for the Blitz probably next month. But if they're going, you can't plow for shit, and you can't block when you're plowing, they're not going to put me on the team. So I really need to get that done. I really need to get that. I know part of the problem is it's a thing where I just feel like I can't get low enough. And I don't know how low I should get. I'm actually going to ask either coaching or some vets, could you show me how low I really need to get? Because I'm not feeling it. And I know I'm doing it wrong. I need help because I don't want to be deficient there. I don't like having twos in that. I don't like having twos, period. And I know part of it is I don't get low enough. And I should. There are times when I do, and there are other times when I don't. A lot of the way we hit is done differently than the way I used to hit before. And again, the same thing with blocking. I never used to do a lot of what we learned how to block by plowing. Never did. Here again, DDR, it's like that's your cornerstone. And one of the things we always say, or that has been said, is you should be able to stop a jammer on your own by plow stopping them. Yeah. And so it's the women are far more hardcore that I'm with now in terms of taking seriously, getting strong and staying strong. And I need to get there. Yeah. This isn't a recreational league. It really isn't. And I need to totally up my game even more than before. One of the other things we did was everybody got to be a jammer and push through packs. A pack of 10 people. And like they said, that's something you're never going to do, in a game. We had to push through packs of 10 people. I ended up not getting through. In fact, I never got through the front, the basic line. Never got through this, trying to push my way through there. They don't give. It was an interesting thing. I mean, I was just pushing my butt off. And then when you're trying to stop them, you're really leaning in and holding as hard as you can. Like I said, I pushed the pack maybe 30 feet, maybe 40 feet. Maybe 20, I don't know. You think about it. You had 45 seconds to do this. Total cardio. We did another cardio drill where you got a partner and you had to push them 30 feet, then go around them 3 times in a circle, go around them 3 times in a circle, push them 30 feet again. By the time you and your partner went through that 3 times each, you did a complete lap of the track, pushing another person on their toe stops. So they're facing you on their toe stops and you're pushing against them and they're resisting as much as possible. Like I said, we're really far more hardcore. And when I got home, my groin muscles have been getting a workout because I'm doing a lot more plowing. I'm doing a lot more holding, using those muscles, which never got used before. And as I was told once before, the reason your muscles are hurting because you're doing something like squatting low. Well, the reason your muscles are hurting because you're squatting low is because you've never used them before, squatting low. Once you get used to squatting low, they'll stop hurting. That's the way my groin muscles are. I'm using my legs more, engaging that part of my body, my lower core, to hold back a jammer, to hold other blockers in place that I never used them before. And they're getting a workout. I came home. I was actually in pain, especially in my right groin muscle, because I tend to favor my right leg more when I'm trying to hold somebody in a plow. And my right groin muscle was just on fire. I mean, after I got out of the car, even before I got out of the car, it's not unusual for me to come home from practice, and it's a 40-minute drive for me to get back from practice. And when I go to get out of the car, my legs are like, they're screaming. They don't want to work. I'll just like kind of force myself to get out of the car and walk, and you're kind of hobbling for the first minute or two while you're trying to move around because your legs, they're sore. I mean, I am working harder than I ever worked before. Thursday night when I went to get out of the car, it was even before I went to get out of the car, I would raise my right leg, which happens to be your throttle and brake leg when you're driving, and I'd raise it up slightly to touch the brake, and it was like all of a sudden I can't move my leg. It hurts too much to move my leg. So I was actually like, I was groaning as I was bringing my leg up to touch the brake. And by the time I was limping. I mean, literally almost limping. It hurt so much. My groin hurts so much from using those muscles. And I did. I was like, oh my God, I'm on fire. I was up until about 1:30 in the morning drinking a lot of fluids and waiting for the ibuprofen to kick in. One of the things I should have done was ice down my groin because it needed it. I should have iced down the muscles. It still hurt a little bit yesterday. It's not too bad today, but I can still, like, when I move my leg in the right position, I can kind of feel it. Yeah. So today I'm going to do a bunch of wall squats to try to get lower and stay lower and engage my thighs better. Because I have to. I mean, I do. This is the only way I'm going to get on a team is I got to get stronger. I got to get harder. I got to get smarter. And I got to work on those plows. I got to be able to get lower and get my feet out there and hold somebody. Because the old ways I used to do shit just ain't going to work. Here, getting on a team is going to involve skill. And, I want to get cleared for scrimmaging and I want to get on a team. I want to get on the blitz. And I recognize that right now I don't have the skills to be able to do that. And I need to. So I need to work on it. I need help. I'm going to get help because it is important for me to want to get on a team. I mean, it's been almost 2 years I've been trying to do this. I'm this close to getting to where I can be cleared for scrimmaging. Be cleared to do a scrimmage assessment, I should say. Not cleared for scrimmaging, cleared to do a scrimmage assessment. Which then they go through and they say, okay, can you handle playing? It's serious shit. And the worst thing that happened Thursday night, we were doing warm-up. And at one point in our warm-up, we're doing backward skating. And I was just getting started, and I was just starting to get up to speed. And all of a sudden, my skates stopped. and I went flying backwards, which is like the worst thing you can have happen to you in derby, is to go flying backwards. And I hit my head. Now, there's a reason why we wear helmets, and that's one of them. But I had several people, including the tot coach that night, who was Deadpool, all say they saw my head bounce. That's even worse, because it means you come down and your head goes, boom. It bounces off the floor. And they were saying, we saw your head bounce when you hit the floor. That's never good, because that's a hard hit. And I think the reason I fell was later during practice, I almost tripped on something again. I said, God damn, there's something on here. And my partner then was Doom. And she found like there was a little something, a stone or some damn thing that was on the track. And it's really amazing. You hit these little pebbles and stuff like that, and your skate just stops. It does. It just like, boom, the wheel stops. And I think I probably hit that because it was right in the same area where I tripped and went backwards. So it may be that I hit that. But anyway, I rolled off the track. And of course, I've got people coming up to me, both my teammates Princess Peach and Schmid Vicious. I love their names. Both were like, are you okay? Are you okay? And of course, I'm sitting there going, yeah, I'm all right. I was shook. I mean, it was like, I said later, it rang my bell. And I've taken a couple of falls like that where I've hit my head. But this one was like clang. And I went, whoa. So Mayhem, our coach, came over, and she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I think so. I hit my head, and I'm trying to explain to her. I was actually just rambling at that point, which should give you an indication that I wasn't okay. And to show you how un-okay I was, she actually said, okay, well, I'm going to take your skates off. And I said, are you sure? Which is like the dumbest thing in the world to say. And she just gave me that look like, yeah. And that's what she says, yes, I'm taking your skates off. I was like, okay, coach. No problem. That's really right there. That's how out of it I was at that point. I was kind of disoriented because I'm like, are you sure you want to take my skates off? Which was stupid to say. When the coach comes over and says, I'm taking your skates off, there's a reason they're telling you that. It's because they don't think you should be back up on your skates. Go figure. That's why they're the coach. So they had me sit down. They put an ice pack on my head. And I was checked for a concussion because they thought maybe I had a concussion. I didn't. So I was allowed to get back on my skates to do assessments. They kept asking me. They said, how's your head? How's your head? And I said, it's okay. There's a little bit of pressure back there, but I'm okay. And they determined I didn't have a concussion. So they let me continue with practice. The one thing I didn't get a chance to do was my 27.5, which I had been psyching myself up for all day because I knew I could do one. And I never got a chance to do it. So, yeah. Go figure. But yeah, that I haven't gone backwards like that. Probably close to a year. Yeah, probably close to a year. And it was kind of disconcerting. The one time I did fly like that backwards and crack my head, hit it real hard, was like the day I got my hockey helmet. The first day I was wearing it for practice. And I said I was actually skating along at a fairly fast rate on the outside of the track, and I hit something slick. and my skates went completely out from underneath me, except the way I was moving, my skates went forward, which meant I went flying in the air and landed on my back. And I caught the back of my head, the back of my neck, hit the track. And the hockey helmet actually has a little bit of extra protection back there. So my head didn't kind of like do a snap forward because the rest of my body is trying to go down. It hit that back there and stopped. And I think if I hadn't been wearing my hockey helmet, I probably would have gotten a real severe concussion because it would have snapped my head forward because my body would have settled that way. But this one probably was the worst that I've had, because when people say your head bounces off the track, that's never good. And I was kind of disoriented. I was kind of disoriented by the hit because, again, I'm like saying stupid stuff to the coach, which you don't do. When the coach tells you to do something, you don't say stupid stuff to the coach. You just go, yes, coach. And I said something stupid. And yeah, I've had coaches take my skates off before, and I've never said anything dumb like that. Although I may have. I think I may have at some point. But yeah, when the coach comes over and says, we're taking your skates off, you don't go, really? You sure? Yeah, they're sure. That's why they're telling you we're going to take your skates off. Idiot. Don't be dumb, Cassie. Yeah, don't be dumb. Next time, just try to go, okay, coach. Because that's what you should say every time. We're going to take your skates off. Okay, coach. Yeah, I get it. Because they're looking out for your safety. I mean, if I did have a concussion, the next step would have been, okay, somebody drive her to the hospital. Get her checked out. If you got a concussion, I would have been either told to lay down and rest, which is totally possible because the benches that are there, you could do so. And if like after, or maybe get somebody to take her to the hospital. I mean, take her to urgent care and have her checked out. At which point I would have just handed my keys to someone and said, here, you drive, So, because I wouldn't have been permitted to drive. It would have been D-gear, you're going to the hospital. And it's like, okay. I haven't gotten to that point yet. But I've seen it happen, so. And here's hoping it doesn't happen to me. But like we say in Derby, it's not a question of if you're going to get hurt. It's really just a question of when. And there will be some point where, I probably will hear the coach say, I'm going to have someone take you to the hospital. And it's like, okay, let's go. Make sure I don't go to the coach. Are you sure? If coach is telling you to go to the hospital, you go to the hospital. There's a reason the coach is telling you to go to the hospital. It's because she thinks you need to go to the hospital because she doesn't want you to get hurt more than you already are hurt. That's why they do that. Dumb. Dumb me. Dumb me. Not dumb coach. Dumb me. So let's not do that anymore. Yeah. All right. So, almost 1 hour. Almost 1 hour on the nose. Yeah. So, here's hoping. No snow yet. It's afternoon, but the snow warning is in effect. So could get buried under 12 inches. Although, like I saw one person say, the snowstorm is named after a guy, so they'll tell you you're going to get 12 inches, but it'll really only be 4. Okay, catch you later.